This edition of the Ridley Report is brought to you by
freekeene.com.
They said it was just an attempted surveillance operation, and they stuck to their story for 10 months. But according to New Hampshire's Concord Monitor, federal marshals have now admitted in court this paramilitary operation in June was an attempt to seize tax protester Ed Brown on his own property. This is surveillance video shot in Plainfield, New Hampshire, on the Brown driveway. It shows federal paramilitaries prepping themselves for an attempt on Ed Brown's freedom. But until now, they had claimed it was just a surveillance mission. Head U.S. Marshal Stephen Monier told reporters they were merely monitoring the Browns' driveway to make sure no supporters left the property, while marshals seized Elaine Brown's dental office. But under oath, April 1st, U.S. Marshal Kenneth Nunes, whose name I may be mispronouncing, told officers of the court the mission was an arrest attempt. The Monitor reports Nunes admitted officers did not even decide to seize the dental office until their arrest team was discovered by a Brown supporter out walking Elaine's dog. That's in contrast with repeated statements by top U.S. Marshals claiming the raid was not an arrest attempt. Head Marshal Stephen Monier on the day of the mission said, quote, "This morning, in anticipation of the service of the warrant on the commercial property, we were surveilling the property," unquote, referring to the Browns' home property. You can find a link to video of Monier's statements in the description for this clip. Yesterday's admissions in court seem to confirm something Brown supporters had been alleging all along. Monier's paramilitaries were not there for the commercial property, but for Brown himself. 3 Brown supporters are in court this week, facing charges of providing guns and explosive assistance to the Browns. Since the beginning of the current trial, marshals have politely declined to comment on Brown supporter-related matters, citing their role as witnesses in the trial. Since they can't speak for themselves, I will go ahead and just make a guess or two as the reasons why they may have used deception on the public here. In fairness to them, they may have felt that admitting an arrest attempt would escalate the situation, or they may have simply been eager to avoid telling the world that they failed in their primary objective. I suspect the seizure of the Brown property was actually a backup plan marshals intended to use if the arrest endeavor were discovered. Hats off to U.S. Marshal Nunes for his readiness to give a version of events that indicates marshals deceived the public for 10 months. Hats off also to Monitor reporter Margot sanger-katz for informing the world that Washington agents apparently lied to her. We also know more about the federal camera which Brown supporters we also know more about the federal camera which recorded Brown supporter Danny Riley's discovery of the arrest team, and which recorded the ensuing foot chase. A Brown supporter tells me it was contained in a box mounted in a tree inside the Brown property. He shot this video. He says he remembers seeing it long after this video was captured and recognizing it for what it was. But apparently no one attempted to interfere with the device. Something else I'd like to point out, marshals did not on this occasion, nor during the Brown capture, take any injurious action against Zoe, the Brown's dog, as law enforcement unfortunately often does during raids. My understanding is Zoe was put up for adoption after the end of this non-standoff. Another piece of news from the Monitor, jailed Brown supporter Bob Wolffe, the man with the mustache in this shot, has apparently testified against the 3 men on trial. Sanger-katz reports Wolffe told the court Riley handled explosive materials and that he saw the other accused men perform armed patrols around the Brown property. Lastly, Elaine Brown herself is expected to take the stand today, April 2nd, a day later than was originally expected. This is Dave Ridley about to sign off for ridleyreport.com, but first...
This edition of the Ridley Report is brought to you by freekeene.com. Freekeene.com believes Keene is the best destination for pro-liberty activists like you. Keene is an exciting and challenging ground floor opportunity. Visit move.freekeene.com and read over 108 reasons to move to Keene. Help us free the beautiful little city of Keene from the clutches of the government. Learn why you should move to Keene at move.freekeene.com.